Hey, IT Nation. That wasn't expected. Hey, IT Nation. This is Sean Lardo here, evangelist for the economy. I am here with my co-host, Dan Scott. Oh, those glasses are great.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, hi, Dan. Stupid.
I left these off before we went live. I thought, where's the fun in that?
Oh, that's messed up. Okay, so great. So again, hi everybody, IT Nation. Thank you for tuning in for yet another episode or installment of IT Nation Europe. When we get ready to talk about all things great about what's coming up in March, when IT Nation does invade Europe from America. So we just flip-flopped it. We came to you instead. And so with that said, though, as I said, I have my trusty component or compadre rather than component. Wow, you got me all messed up. Dan Scott, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm actually gonna have to take them off because I can't see. All I can see is like reflections in the glitter. So yeah, Sean, I'm good. Fresh back from Phoenix. I think pretty much over the jet lag. 7 hours is a bit brutal, but yeah, back. Doing good, and I'm very excited to start kicking off our introductions to our guest speakers.
Absolutely. And actually the person we're bringing on today, she hung out with us in Arizona last week. And by the way, I do miss the weather of Arizona because last Wednesday I was sitting outside when we finished our meetings and I had to fly out in a few hours. So I was sitting outside of the resort and the sun was on me. I was in a t-shirt. It was so nice. I was sipping a coffee. And then when I landed back in Pittsburgh that evening, I had to clean my car off of the snow. And so yeah, there's that. But anyway, enough of my demise. Let's talk about what's moving on here. Dan, so we're just a few months away from now is IT Nation Europe. And you and I had a great session a couple weeks ago talking about the things that you're looking forward to, the standouts. Are they still the same standouts or has anything changed?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that's worth going to have a look at, we have released our next batch of content. So all the way up to the event, we're going to be dropping more amazing sessions, content, speakers into our agenda. So yesterday, we had another drop of content, everything from using AI in your business. So remember last time I spoke about how you have to have real world uses of AI. Well, we've got someone that runs not only an automations business, but also an MSP. Who's coming to talk about his journey of automations, AI, machine learning, and increasing productivity, essentially. Doesn't matter how you do it. That's the goal that we're all aiming for, So how Jamie Claret coming to talk about how he does that in the real world. So really, really exciting. That's one of the sessions that we unveiled yesterday, alongside another one that's worth mentioning because I know it's a pain point for many people in the community. It's something that's really relevant and we all want to be better at in our businesses. We have Ben Brown coming to talk to us about digital marketing strategies that actually work. Ben Brown is a good friend and runs a company called Session Media. Session Media is something who we work with here in the IT Nation and ConnectWise ourselves. So yeah, definitely something that a person that you want to be hearing from and learning from. He's got a wealth of content online and someone I'm really excited to be able to bring to the community.
That's awesome. Yes, MSPs are notorious for being phenomenal at marketing and sales. So, it should be a great get together and discussing that.
Learning from the experts is what we're all about.
All right. So, to keep you and I from chatting about absolutely nothing important at this point, because we will now get to the stage of nothing important. Let's bring on our guest. I'll let you make the introduction.
Yeah, absolutely. So our first special guest to this series is the one and only Miss Hannah Lloyd. Hannah is the co-founder and VP of channel sales at InSoc. She's also a very, very good friend of mine. I was very, very honored to be Hannah's vice chair in the CompTIA UK and Ireland, for 2 years prior to becoming chair myself. And we've known each other far, far, far too long in this world that we're in. So please welcome Hannah Lloyd. Hannah, welcome.
Oh, thank you, guys. And that's a far kinder introduction than I deserve, probably, Dan. So thank you so much for having me. And also fresh off the plane from Arizona. So excuse the bags under my eyes at the moment.
When did you land?
Sunday. I didn't even know what day it was today, if I'm completely honest. I just had to think about it. I was about to say yesterday, but it wasn't. Sunday is when I got off the plane, and obviously fresh as a daisy right now. I'm fine. This will be great.
Denial is important. Ignorance is bliss. I'm telling you right now.
That's how I've lived my life, Sean. It's fine. Ignorance is bliss. If it's not there, you don't need to worry about it.
Right. If it's not in front of your face and it's not touching you, it's not there. I couldn't agree more. So okay, so wait, we were done on Wednesday, but you got home on Sunday. You must have taken the long way home.
Yeah, well, sort of. Got the days confused as to when the meeting ended, so I actually flew home Saturday thinking it was the whole week.
I hate when I make that mistake.
If anyone doesn't know me, I have ADHD and time isn't my strong point. So yeah, and dates aren't my strong point either. But so left Saturday, wandered around a cactus garden. Once you've seen one cactus, you've seen them all. So but Arizona's lovely, and as you said, Sean, just now, the weather was beautiful. So it's a bit depressing getting off into the wind, rain, and everything else. So
I would agree. The weather, you know what I liked is that when we'd have dinner in the evening and everybody had like their scarves on and winter coats, and I was in my polo shirt. I was like, as long as I'm near a heater, I'm okay. you could tell who's from the southern region of the U.S.
Yeah,
and who's not. Like they were freezing.
Yeah. Well, my favourite thing is always when they're in these very hot places that are hot all year round. We work with Sri Lanka, and in Sri Lanka, even in December, they sell puffer jackets when it's like 30 degrees because it's like a wish for the seasons to be there. And it's like, you have no idea how jealous we are that you have this 30 degrees, but they're wanting the puffer jackets and the hats and everything. So, I guess we're blessed in one way.
Okay, so to translate, 30 degrees is Celsius. For us regular folk here is 86 degrees. See, I'm on it now. I got it.
Look, I can't do maths. So whenever you say, I shouldn't say that when I'm about to talk about sales and stuff, but I can't, unless it's an Excel spreadsheet or Google, maths is not my strong point. So yes, whatever the degrees are in Fahrenheit, that's what it is.
86. So for quick story, and then we'll move on to the important topic. Went to Cuba some years ago, and it was like November, and we're like, hey, we're going to go to the beach. And all the people in Cuba are like, are you crazy? It's winter. And, I'm like, at that point, it was 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit that day when we were going. So I was like, this is summer. This is hot summer. And we get to the beach, and the beach is empty, except for these crazy Russian guys in thongs. And they're like, hey, drinking vodka. It was amazing. It was out of a movie. I'm still friends with Ivan to this day. We talk on WhatsApp all the time. So
just one question: are thongs in the US footwear or are they otherwear? Because
they're otherwear. They're otherwear.
No, that's fine because Australians use it for something else, and I got very confused once upon a time. So that's a different story. Won't get into. That's fine after that clarification.
Well, luckily this is not Ike Nation APAC, so we're good. They don't a lot of that stuff. We're good. All right, so Dan, I'm sorry. We're totally. Han and I are having a conversation without you.
That's right. Who had 11-10 in the sweepstake? There you are. You are the winner. 11-10. It was the going sideways sweepstake that we're going to have off the back of these ones.
Yes.
So Hannah, let's talk about what you're going to be bringing to the conference then. So give us an intro to what it is that you're going to be presenting about.
Sure. So for people that don't know what I do and why I do it, just because it gives a little bit of credit to why I'm talking about it, and I'm not just a random person thinking that I can talk about it. In 2018, 2019, I formed a cybersecurity company, a SOC as a service company, and we started it and it got into business in 2019, just before COVID, which is obviously the exact right time that you want to start a new business, a vendor especially, but through COVID and everything in between. So we offer SIEM, vulnerability management, SOC, the standard things as a SOC as a service company. However, one thing that I really did learn transitioning from a NOC and service desk provider to security and it was one thing that I didn't expect to have to learn, is how to sell to end clients with my MSPs. So we are a channel only company. However, over time and during COVID was actually the time I got to learn a lot of these things. And over time, the best MSPs in the industry, some of the biggest ones, but also some of the most mature ones. And as part of that, the selling strategy has also evolved along the way. And also one of the key things is the type of customers that they're selling to as well. So my job has kind of changed from being a channel manager, essentially, that's selling directly to an MSP, to someone that has to take that hybrid approach of selling at an operational mature level via the MSP and with the MSP. So that's something which my selling skills have had to adapt quite quickly, but it's also something I'm hugely grateful for. So the session that I wanted to bring to the conference is around everyone's gone to selling cybersecurity sessions, haven't they? Like, that's something which we've all seen on agendas and everything, but looking at how do we evolve that cybersecurity sales proposition? How do we look at those margins? Because we've also been very lucky at INSOC to be able to learn what that uplift should be across our customers. And I know that's a question that we always get. Am I making enough money? Am I charging too much money? All of that stuff, but also being able to have more mature conversations as well, both operationally, but also from a new sales perspective, and especially in the co-managed arena, because that seems to be, it doesn't matter the size of MSP we're dealing with. That's very much where the new business is, and selling outside of their current customer base. So there's so many pieces to this puzzle, but being able to put it into a process and having an outcome and being able to upsell is something that I hope we've done quite well over the last 2 years, and something which our MSPs have been very helpful in being able to guide us with, to be able to put a strategy together. So I wanted to share that with the community. I know that's a long-winded explanation, but I just wanted to give some credit to why I'm talking about it as well.
Absolutely.
Can you start from the beginning again? Can you start from the beginning again?
It's fine.
I missed the
in
first
1992, I was born, and it was a dark night.
I'm glad you can recollect what it was when you were born. That's amazing. Yes. You are amazing. You are amazing. He gets credit for. I can't remember that, but you can. No, so
this reminds me enough.
So I do love when it comes down to you talking about a sales process in cybersecurity now, especially. And yeah, COVID was a great time to start a business. Actually, but if anything, I feel like COVID probably boosted the requirements for what you were delivering on anyway, because I just had this yesterday. I just recorded a session where we were talking about how it went to, we were actually talking to ThreatLocker, and how the whole endpoint management piece became endpoint management cybersecurity requirements because of remote work from COVID. So this became this boom for them. So sure, it's not the most ideal situation for you to start a business, but the reality is it probably benefited you in the long run, because everybody became frantic as to how they were going to share this information and get everybody under one belt of cybersecurity.
Yeah, it's a really good point, because I think what happened, well, in my experience of COVID, so we were a new vendor. I was extremely lucky to have a fantastic relationship with Nostra Technologies. They don't mind me using their name before, who are now a amazing front player in the MSP field, and they gave us a shot because of the passion that we had for it. And during COVID, we were able to learn how to do this effectively, and how do we strengthen those processes, and how do we also position ourselves correctly in the field. One thing that I was desperately wanting to do was to be a neutral vendor, in the sense of how do we integrate with the other people that are doing this well, and how do we make sure that we are building something where I'm not just selling a tool set. And that's what we were able to learn during COVID, during a time of upheaval, and also where MSPs as well, they did save a lot of the industries. We can't deny it. They kept the world running. And I think that one of the key things here is we learn off of that, but also how are we able to take a time where budgets were constrained, because everyone pulled budgets back, and clients like, no, we can't spend anything, to make sure that people were educated during that time. So then when budgets were opened up again, that they were spending it on the right thing. And that really taught me, how do we make sure that we're not propositioning ourselves in terms of selling this, but how do I help the MSPs to be able to integrate and build a good package, which then means they're able to profit, but they're also able to make something that's good for their clients as well. And how do they feel safe in that knowledge, and being able to partner with other vendors such as ConnectWise and also other EDR providers, meant that we were able to bring so much knowledge into what we were doing. So this isn't then a tool set sale, this is a consultative sale. And I now have the beauty of, I never feel like I'm selling something. I feel like I'm having a conversation. It was because of COVID, not obviously the virus, that time period that allowed me to be able to have that time to reflect and actually get this down pat. So I completely agree with you, Sean. It was a horrible time in a lot of ways, but it also meant that we were able to evolve into something that I now am very proud of and thoroughly enjoy as well. Absolutely.
So you work with businesses. You picked a, you mentioned Kevin Gary at Seaman Nostra, amazing business, and so absolutely high growth, high scale business. What lessons have you seen from working with MSPs of different sizes, different maturities, different stages of their business? Are there any commonalities where people are getting it wrong? Where you see the approach to cyber sales and how, well, not just sales, but like the approach to the cybersecurity message with their clients, and it doesn't really matter whether they're 500 people or 5. There's some common threads that run there.
Yes, there's always a key thing is that they haven't got a standardized package. That would always be the thing. And then because it's not standardized, they're not making enough money and they're not charging enough. And Nostra especially have been hugely valuable to us in every which way. You know how much I love the guys at Nostra, Dan, because the feedback that they gave us around these things, we very much learned together. But they also were extremely good at being able to put their account managers into the fold prior to their new business people. And that's a key thing. So when we talk about packages, you shouldn't just be selling, say, Siemens SOC as a separate package necessarily. You can do that when you get to a bigger stage, but the most successful MSPs have bundled everything into 3 core packages, and it's based on per user pricing, and you get your EDR, MDR, SIEM, SOC as part of that package. They know what their costs are and they know exactly how much money they're making, and they stand strong on those packages. If someone wants something additional, you go up to the next package. It doesn't matter whether you don't want something in it. We have to stay strong on it, because it's not just about the price and how much money you're making. It's also about the operational value of it. How do you measure your burden rate if you don't keep to a package? That's when burden rates go out the window. That's when time starts going astray. People don't know what the SLA is, all of that type of stuff. So bringing it, I would say it always comes back down to that package. And also with security, as I said, I came from a knock and service desk provider where that's already important from an IT perspective. But with security, you want to keep to what you do, because that's how you mitigate the risk. That's how you put things in place in your contract to say, no, this isn't included, and therefore that's your responsibility, and this is our responsibility. And should something happen, this is what the process is, so that they feel strong and intact. Should the worst happen, which is always the end user clicking on something, opening something up, or whatever it is, they know what their process is, they know what's included, and they can also make sure that they're not going to get stung by an insurance fee and so forth. And it means that their insurance policies are kept strong as well. They're not having to run around to try and get something. So it's always that package, always with that.
Yeah, so you're standardizing a couple of times as well, and value is I find it's that repeating conversation, isn't it? Of too many people don't place enough value in the services they're providing. And of course, value then translates into profitability, leaving too much on the table, if you want to call it that. But really, it's just down to don't underestimate the value that you provide.
Completely. It's completely that. They always say it to you as people as well, don't they? Is that take value in your skill set, always take value in what you're able to do. And I mean, I'm not overly great at that on myself. When it comes to my engineers that I work with, the value of them, I couldn't do any of my job without them. So making sure that we're charging the correct amount to put that value onto them. And I've never had anyone question it because they can see the skill set, and it should be the same for the end client. They should be able to see the skill sets and the protection they're getting, and that equals value. Work time equals value. It's not just your tools that are valuable. I always say the people are the value. Tools ultimately at the end of it going to be able to do the same thing. If you've got good people, that's what makes your business, and that's where your value should be.
So
Absolutely.
let's go back to something you mentioned. You do a lot of co-manage, which co-manage became a huge thing over the last few years. When you're approaching this, part of your sales, what do you teach the MSPs to do? Because you end up having, indirectly, you have multiple clients now involved, because first off, the MSPs talking to the internal, well, it could be an internal IT group with a company or another MSP. So do you have a different track or a different talk session, or what's different between the two, or is it the same?
No, I think that's a really good point. So with co-managed, I'd say co-managed has also changed, especially over the last 2 years. And I would say the main field it's changed in is manufacturing. Don't know why, but manufacturing has boomed when it comes to security, and especially with this co-managed piece. Now, we have some very big, well-known brands that are part of this, which previously would have just dealt with IT departments. They had an internal IT department. Now, what happened about 2 or 3 years ago was that previously these large enterprises had purchased large bulky SIEM tools themselves. It had been marketed directly to them. They'd purchased it. They thought, yeah, IT can deal with that. We'll put that in. These big enterprise SIEM tools were then creating a huge amount of noise, and the IT department weren't able to cope with it. And to be quite honest, I don't think many people would be able to cope with that amount of noise. It didn't have the tuning. These guys were already overloaded with IT issues. So what's now happened over the last year or 2 years is that even some of the big brands, I mean, we've got some very big manufacturers where they're now approaching MSPs to be able to take on that security side of it and their critical infrastructure, so that the IT department can work with the MSP as an extension of their team. Now, the beauty of this when it comes to us being the vendor is our processes don't change, whether we're dealing just with the MSP or whether there's an IT department involved, because the key thing around that is the reporting structure. If we're able to put together a good high-level report that can, and this is something we work with the MSP on as well, if the MSP can produce and show this report, which can be shown to a C-level exec or a technical person, and it shows everything over the past month, the trends, the anomalies from a high level, and it shows the IT department that the MSP's got it covered. They know exactly what's going on. We're focusing on it. We've taken you from red light to green light. And it's constant proactive management. This is the other thing that MSPs are enjoying, I would say, is that proactive management, not just alerting. It means that that IT department can get on with what they were originally really hired to do, and they're not having to have the sleepless nights of buzzers going off and phone calls because the SIEM alerts turned up and it's actually a false positive. So the process and the escalation structure is exactly the same, and we can the MSP can involve the enterprise department as much as they want, or they don't have to, but keeping to that process, the escalation, the reporting, everything the same. The IT department, after they've kind of had the whole thing of, no, that's my server, let me keep it, after they've got over that and they can see that reporting value, we've never had a single person tell us, I want to be involved. All of them tell and go, you know what, that's absolutely fine, you do that. So it's those processes, which,
whatever word you want to use is fine.
Yeah, I'm talking Hannah'ism. It's fine.
That's that Queen's English. We don't know anything about it. It sounds right.
Queen's English. Hannah English. But as long as those processes are tight and they're kept across the whole MSP customer base, we don't change those. There's no reason for co-managed to be any different to a customer that is wholly looked after. And to be honest, most of our big MSPs as well have been able to gain more of an IT contract from their co-managed services by selling security. Security is now the shoehorn into those IT services. Before, they might have been looking after 3 servers servers out of 101 firewall. They're now looking after all the infrastructure. So their IT contract has gone through the roof as well. So it's interesting, but it's, again, it brings it all back to that packaging process of keeping that steady, the same, and then your margins will go up and up and up. Again, another long-winded answer.
Hadn't noticed.
You have to stop me. You know me too well, Butter, now.
But you're kind of like a train, and it's not really easy to stop that train. And Dan knows, because Dan's always on trains. He loves trains. He
loves trains. He loves a train photo as well, doesn't he?
That's how I introduced him on the first episode. I was like, the man, like planes, trains, and automobiles, and Dan's the train car.
There should be a train selfie of Dan, a airplane selfie of Rob Ray, and we just need someone on a bus. I'll do the bus. And then we can have one of each.
I love it. I love
Cruise ships for 25. There you go. There's the theme. Someone's got to go on a ship somewhere. I'll tell you what. Let's switch the gears for a minute, and Hannah, let's talk about you for a couple of minutes as a person. For those that don't know you, so you are a CompTIA Member of the Year, CompTIA Channel Changer Award winner, and in my humble opinion, I'll throw the names out there because I'm the one with the microphone. I think you're a leader in our industry for both neurodiversity awareness and diversity, equity, and inclusion. You're making change, not just making awareness of, but actually driving change in the industry. So for people that don't know what you've done around those areas and why you were the recipient of those awards, yeah, talk about it.
Thank you.
Wait, I love how you give me 15 things about you. Now talk about them all. Go.
Yeah, go.
Please stop me in the middle of me saying
fill in the blanks.
Yeah, so I was born in 1992, and it was
it was a dark night. I heard.
It's a dark night in October, and I'm a Libra. No, I think one of the key things about what you just said there, Dan, and I'm hugely grateful. One thing that did happen in Phoenix was that I forgot that I was Member of the Year, and someone was talking to me about it, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, oh, right. So this year was actually my 10-year anniversary in the channel. So I started working with my now business partners, Mark and Christian, straight out of university. I'd finished university on the Friday. I started with them on the Tuesday. I had no idea what a server was. I had no idea what I was doing, and I was thrown into knock and service desk sales as an inside sales rep, and I just tried my best. Absolutely just tried my best. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then what happened when I was 22, 23, I went to my first CompTIA meeting in London. Christian was the chair at the time, I believe, of the EC. For anyone that doesn't know what the EC is, it's the Executive Council. We're nominated and elected by the community at CompTIA, so it is democratic, I promise. And I was asked, did I want to put myself forward for it? And at the time, I said I was 22, 23. I was still trying to learn what on earth was going on, like what the industry was and so forth, still learning how to turn my computer on by myself and so forth. And I thought, I'll go for it. And it was actually my dad that said, well, why don't you try? You can't say like anything. If you don't get it, you don't get it. You haven't lost anything. And I did get elected, and this will be my 9th year on the council. As Dan said, I was the youngest vice chair, youngest chair worldwide, and in 2021 I won Member of the Year as the youngest Member of the Year ever. And the reason, I'm not sure why they trusted me with that, I'm joking, but I think one of the key things is that I had a want to do better for the next people coming up. I wanted to do better for young people, because obviously as a woman in the industry, I get judged all the time. It's a case of people think I'm Christian's secretary, or that, oh, well, I've done more than you, or all this type of thing, which they probably have. But it's that assumption of things that are said without that you wouldn't say to, say, my business partner. Do you see what I'm saying? And I wanted to make that different. And being young was another thing where I've got a lot to learn. Everyone's got a lot to learn. But younger people and women should still get the credit for the things that they have done. And I had to fight extremely hard when I was about 25, 26 for any little thing, to get any little bit of credit or to get the commission and all of this type of thing. So that I wanted that to change. And we formed the DEI committee interest group, keep getting that wrong, interest group at CompTIA 2 years ago, which I'm chair of, to be able to bring that change about and to be able to start having those conversations, because there are so many amazing people in this community, and I've had men support me, like you guys, my business partners, behind me every step of the way, and we need to replicate that. We need to replicate that equity, and we need to give people that chance, because if I hadn't have fought for it, I wouldn't be here, rather than it being a case of that I worked and got the promotion, or I worked and got this. I had to fight every step of the way, and that's something that just needs to be flipped on its head a little bit, so that people don't have to watch that other person get the promotion rather than you, when you feel and you don't feel like you can say anything. So yeah, and I've learned a huge amount of you, Dan, as well, of working with you, as you said, for far too long. I'm sure that we don't want to admit how long, but I've learned off of so many people, and having that open-minded attitude to it, and to be able to just take those steps forward, it means I can love what I do, and then you achieve through loving what you do.
Yeah,
as far as timing, Dan is more worried about you saying how much time, because Dan's the older one in the conversation.
Yeah.
So he's like, shut up, Hannah, you're ruining everything.
Yeah.
I've only known for a year.
3 years, Hannah.
Now, if you know what I mean. It's gone beyond counting in years. It's yeah. Yeah, Hannah and I met properly, I would say we're at an IT Nation Connect event in Florida in 20 something, if you know what I mean, to smaller number at the end. And one of my first, I think, and not Hannah's, I don't think. And it was you quickly learn you sleep on the plane on the way home, because you're not going to get a lot of sleep during the week. And
no, well, yeah.
When you start walking past people that are asleep on the bar, or like the cleaning ladies coming out, and you're still walking about the lobby bar at the Hyatt in Orlando, then you know that it's just time to get on the plane, really.
It's worse when they know your name.
Yeah,
because you've been there every year.
Yeah,
I mean, literally, I see this. They're like, oh, how, like the first year, they're like, I forget who you are, and they have their name tag, and I'm like, hey, oh yeah, you're the guy that. Oh, then the next year, see him again, and then they start knowing your drink, and that's even worse.
Yeah, that's.
And they're like, how's the kids? Shut up! Don't talk to me.
The first year I went was when I met you, Dan. I think it was my first year as well, actually. And this, when you've been, as you said a couple of times, Sean, it was one of the later ones that I went to, and I had my flight cancelled coming back, and I go up to the reception, and they go, "Oh, Miss Lloyd, if you want, because you've been here so many times, like we have a suite for you. We're just cleaning it up from the suite party the night before, if you'd like it. But as like a returning guest, you can have it." And I'm like, and you know, when you think, I know what that suite party, and so I just
go on the room.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'll just have the single twin room over.
I'll just sleep in the lobby. It'll be fine.
I need one small bed or a couch. I'm good with that.
Yes, yeah. I'll just sleep in the lobby. It's fine. But they're always, I think the thing I love about IT Nation, and what I love about ConnectWise in general, and what everything that you guys do, is that community aspect where people that work together become friends, and they genuinely trust each other. And coming to the Evolve peer groups, if anyone that's listening is thinking about joining Evolve, do it, because I was welcomed in with open arms from everyone. And the way that people are able to trust each other, I haven't seen from another peer group in any way. And the way that Dan and Sean deal with these MSPs and help them and guide them, I honestly can't recommend it enough. And it's the same for the big, I would call it big IT Nation in Orlando, being able to go there and for it to be a community of communities. I just think it's absolutely wonderful. So if anyone's questioning it, I'll do your sales pitch for you now, Dan. But from a non-biased opinion, honestly, it's absolutely fantastic, and that's what I love about what you guys do, and we'll support it all day long.
Thank you.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
And you know, from our
Dan's better.
perspective, you know, when we get the privilege of being able to work on creating agendas for conferences and bringing content to the community, you know, how amazing it is to be able to highlight and work with people such as yourself, Hannah, when we're not only with the professional knowledge that you're bringing to people in terms of what you do every day and how you can share that with people, of how they can go and accelerate their sales, but also, as you said, the mission that you're on, to personally to make this industry a better place for people who don't have to endure the same unnecessary hardships that you did and don't have to jump over those hurdles. You know, it's a privilege to be able to help you in both of those missions, you know, but enable businesses to grow and enable people to succeed. Yeah, that's why we do what we do. And thank you for sharing with the community. That's the main thing.
Oh, well, honestly, anytime, and as I've proven on today, I'm more than happy to talk to anyone for however long you need me to talk about it. But honestly,
we know that.
Yeah. I'm an oversharer anyway. And I just think that the way that I used to not like getting up on stage, but did it anyway. Like there's still that bit of me, you know, like when you get up on stage, you're like all a bit nervous, but everyone's always like, oh, well, you're just so open about it. And it's because of that safety. And although I said I had to fight for things, the majority of the people in this industry are absolutely fantastic, and the rest of it is just guidance, isn't it? And it's a lot of the time people don't know what they don't know, or perhaps what they haven't had to think about, or perhaps it's just sometimes little mistakes that can impact other people. And a lot of the time people will grow and thoroughly enjoy learning about things that they didn't even really think about. And whenever I've spoken about my ADHD or other aspects from, say, my family, my dad's blind, all of that type of thing, and how technology's helped him, and how fantastic it is that other people have helped with that, people will come up and share more. And through being vulnerable myself has allowed other people to be vulnerable and perhaps that little bit more open. And that's exactly what Evolve does, is that people, one person being vulnerable allows 5 other people to be, and then it's like a snowball, isn't it? And I think that's just what's so wonderful about this community. And I'd say that's the biggest change that's happened in my time in the industry. Us being British, we tend to be a little bit more guarded, don't we, of not wanting to perhaps speak out as much, and it's that stiff upper lip. And I think being able to change that over the last 5 years, and you've been a huge part of that, Dan, I think is absolutely fantastic. And I think Evolve's really led the way on that. I really do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's just a privilege to be a part of the community and watch people doing amazing things. You know, that's always what I say. You know, anything brilliant that happens, our members make it happen. That's the, you know, be our conferences, our peer groups, anything. It's what happens between the people who are there, the relationships that are created, the problems that are shared, halved, and solved. And the answers in the room. They're always the answers in the room somewhere. And just go and talk to people, make it happen. Everyone wants to meet new people. Most people will be a little bit nervous somewhere of not wanting to, you know, find out, make new connections, but just go out there, say hi, and start a conversation with someone, because it could be one that leads to amazing things. You and I did it in a trade show floor all those years ago, and here we are.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. So did Hannah and I on a trip. Actually, I was working with Christian, which I finally got to meet Christian in person. It only took a decade. My Lord.
You saw him over the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him walking the line. And I saw him dancing or something, whatever that was. It was really good. It looked really good on him. Yeah.
It was the next day when he said, I've got such a headache from one drink. And I'm like, yes, one drink, one jug of drink.
Yeah, one drink.
If it keeps getting refilled, doesn't count.
Yeah, just one.
Right. It's the same cup.
Exactly.
So it's literally, he's not lying.
Yeah.
It's a matter of perspective.
Oh.
I appreciate that. He's efficient.
Yes. Yeah. He is that.
It's like the one glass of wine. I only had one glass of wine, but then you look at the glass and it's like literally a trough.
Yeah.
Like that's not, you know, but I don't know why I'm so messed up. One glass of wine. It's like, yeah, no.
We've all been there.
Yes, we have.
We're just like seasoned enough to now admit it.
Yeah, it's true.
We made it. We couldn't have made it hangover.
Yeah.
Malort. Our unofficial sponsor.
Yeah.
Official sponsor of IT Nation Europe. Oh, God, it'd be a horrible way. Just think about this, though.
to you by
If
Jesse
you
Sport, the official drink of I'm not getting my security deposit back.
There we go.
imagine if that's the first drink anybody ever has over there from the US and they think that's what we drink.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, what's wrong with those people over there? Like literally, what is wrong with them? They have no taste.
Oh boy. Right. Come on then. Let's wrap it up.
Yes, we gotta
Let's
wrap up.
it up. So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, who's watching, Hannah will be with us, but March 10th to the 12th in London for IT Nation Europe. The brilliant Simon Escobar, who is the person behind the scenes that makes all the clever stuff happen, is putting the right stuff down on the bottom of the screen now, because Sean and I will inevitably get it wrong. So there you get to just watch that, as they say in the trade. And we can't wait to see you there. So we will be mastering security sales for MSPs, simplify processes, win clients, and boost margins, presented by none other than the awesome Miss Hannah Lloyd. So Hannah, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for being at the event, and we can't wait to see you there. I might as well pop these on for the last couple of minutes, haven't I? Seeing as it's Christmas.
Well, if you're doing that, then I'm doing this. Like,
there you go.
There you go. That,
that's a great way to end the show, right?
Well, there's the video thumbnail sorted anyway.
Yeah, so please don't make that the little icon.
That is a thumbnail and a GIF while we're at it. Like, it's a GIF. We're good.
Oh dear. Well, on that note, thank you.
You can see the full agenda at theitnation.com. And then just kind of look for the London page, or if not, Simon might put something clever in the comments and everything else that he does. And we can't wait to see you there. More of these coming. We're going to highlight more of our speakers, and very, very, very soon we will be unveiling our guest keynote speaker for the event. That one is literally almost there. And somehow I haven't let it slip, but there we go. Some miracles do happen. It's Christmas.
It's Christmas, and thank you, Dan, for trying to keep as best you can to keep us on track to close us out, as he and I are having our own conversation on the side where you're not involved apparently. Hannah, thank you for being on. It was great having you. I'm still waiting. I'm putting my travel for the year right now, and I have IT Nation Europe on my travel plans. So I'll be expecting to see you there, and you'll be drinking Malort while we're there, just so we're clear.
I've got away with it thus far, and now I just get the feeling this is some sort of contract.
It's publicly been announced, so therefore
it has with that picture.
Correct. So everybody there in IT Nation checking us out, thank you. We'll be seeing you in January. This will be coming up again in January, because it is the holiday season and nobody in the UK works after a certain day. So therefore, we'll see you in January. But thank you all. Dan, look forward to seeing you soon, bud.
See you soon.